Oscar, Grundgetta, and a couple of other grouches, all wearing tattered business wear, have convened in the yard. They sit at a big table covered with trash and are chanting, "Grump, Grump, Grump." Oscar thinks he hears someone coming, but is disappointed when it's only Maria. She's taken aback and asks whom they were expecting. Oscar explains they're waiting for Donald Grump, who has the most trash of any other grouch in the world. It's even all branded with his last name like the trash sitting before them. It leads to a rousing song celebrating the grumpy tycoon, who emerges from his personal trash can and sings along to his own hubris. Donald Grump announces that he's looking for a Grouch Apprentice to help sort through his trash. Not only will one of them become his helper, but they also get to keep some of Grump's trash. Before he starts his search, he immediately fires two of the grouches, Omagrosa and Swampy. "Scram! You're fired!" Just because he feels like it. Omagrosa and Swampy are thrilled to be fired and try to catch up with the taxi Donald whistles for them. Elmo arrives, knowing of Donald Grump's reputation and wants to be his helper. Oscar and Grundgetta argue that Elmo isn't a grouch and is also nice and annoying. However, Grump likes a helper who can annoy him and lets Elmo participate. Maria suggests that Elmo should help her in the mail-it shop instead, but Elmo wants to help Donald first. Grump then fires Maria, despite her not even working for him, and she leaves in a huff. In order to be the Grump's apprentice, the participants have to pass his trash test. The first test is to find out how many of his rotten, smelly fish can fit in one of his Grump-branded buckets. Oscar and Grundgetta are determined to win, but argue with each other over who is going to be the Grump's apprentice. While they argue, Elmo estimates that 5 fish would fit in the bucket. He and Donald Grump count the fish as Grump puts them in the bucket, and Elmo turns out to be right. Grump gives the other grouches another chance, like their rotten attitudes. The next test is to sort his torn sneakers into 2 piles, one with 3 holes in the sneaker and one with 2 holes in the sneaker. Oscar and Grundgetta begin to argue again over who is the best sneaker sorter. Elmo ends up sorting the entire piles of torn sneakers during their argument, and Oscar and Grundgetta think it's unfair again since they were squabbling. Grump decides to give them one last chance. His last test is for them to find the most trash in 5 seconds. Again, Oscar and Grundgetta argue while Elmo rushes off and fetches 5 piles of trash. Grump sees what the others have collected, amounting them to 0 piles of trash between them. Despite Elmo having passed all the tests, Grump fires Elmo because of how nice he is. Elmo doesn't mind because he just likes to help. Grump is surprised and mentions that Elmo also won't get to keep any of his trash, which Elmo didn't want in the first place. However, Elmo does take a parting gift, Grump's tacky hairpiece, which he has a stock of, and he heads off to help Maria. With only Oscar and Grundgetta left, Grump declares them to be the worst and most rotten helpers he ever seen, and because of that, he makes them both his apprentices. However, when Oscar and Grundgetta find out they have to help sort through his trash, they decide not to be his helpers and fire Donald Grump. Donald collects his trash and chases after his speeding taxi, while Oscar and Grundgetta enjoy saying, "Scram! You're fired!" to each other.